1.8 left, no timeouts left for the Bulls. Myers triggers the inbounds pass. Kukoc for the win. It goes! Oh, brother!
Pause the video. It's the 1994 playoffs, and the Bulls just hit a buzzer beater in a win against the New York Knicks in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. But something seems way off. Why is Tony Kukoc taking the last shot? Why is Phil Jackson mad after a game winner? And most of all, why is Scottie Pippen on the bench? Now let me take you back to the summer of '93.
A state of shock right now because the potential announcement is that Michael Jordan, the world's greatest athlete, it's simple to say, and the best player ever to play the game of basketball, was about to announce his retirement from the Chicago Bulls.
When I lose a sense of motivation and a sense of to prove something as a basketball player, it's time for me to move away from the game of basketball.
But in the NBA's bizarre economy, Scottie Pippen was underpaid. And it could be argued, playing with Michael Jordan, he was also underappreciated.
It came time for me to be the forefront and being a leader. It was a little different than what I had faced throughout my career and throughout my whole basketball career, not just from a professional level.
And Pippen made a colossal error in judgment at the most inopportune time.
Why was Bulls All-Star and team leader Scottie Pippen on the bench at the crucial climax of last night's showdown with New York?
Now, as far as the last play of the game goes, Scottie Pippen was not involved in that play. He asked out of the play. I left him off the floor.
KJ, good looking, baby. Yeah.
7 days a week, I've been working 7 days a week. I've been.
Back in 1994, the Chicago Bulls were trying their best to adjust to a system without Michael Jordan, which seems almost impossible to fully execute since you can't replace a player like Air Jordan. But then again, they also had Scottie Pippen, another Hall of Famer. For years, Scottie proved his dominance going head-to-head with some of the best players in the world. He excelled at nearly every facet of the game and is considered to be one of the best players throughout the 90s, as he's truly one of the best players to ever do it. What other player had 9 all-defensive selections and 7 all-star appearances throughout the decade? Like, come on. Outside of Michael himself, was there a player during the 90s who had a better overall game than Scottie? He was that guy that was going to clamp up the best player on the opposing team, give you 19, 8, and 7 a night in his prime, and if and when there was no Michael Jordan, there was Pippen. Yet even till this day, we don't view Pippen with the likes of MJ, Kareem, and Kobe Bryant. He has all the tools and accolades. So the question is, how did we get here? In 1994, while Michael Jordan was playing baseball, Scottie Pippen was filling in the gap, coasting the Bulls to a 55-win season, only 2 wins short from the previous season with MJ. And Scottie was an alpha, leading the Bulls in almost every statistical category, with points, assists, steals, field goal, efficiency, minutes, and ranked second in rebounds and blocks per game. By far the best player on one of the best teams, proving that he was way more than just a sidekick. He can be a leader and an alpha, and Scottie winning a championship without Jordan would have solidified his spot as truly one of the best to ever do it. Except the 1 year he was given the opportunity, he let it slip through his fingertips. So it's the 1994 playoffs. The Bulls are going against Patrick Ewing and the Knicks, who were growing very tired of the Bulls and were looking to execute to take their opportunity, knowing that they didn't have Jordan. So this was the perfect time for Scottie to step up and say, hey, this is my team, versus the Knicks, a team that the Bulls sent packing 3 straight seasons prior, and the Knicks were dying to get their revenge. as the Knicks only won 5 of their last 16 playoff matches against the Bulls. So it's Game 3 of the 1994 Eastern Conference semifinals, and for the first time this series, the Bulls are coasting to an early lead, as Chicago were down 2-0 against the Knicks. Scottie Pippen led the team this far, but he needed to step up when it mattered most. So for the first time, Scottie Pippen got hot early before the Knicks could build any momentum. And one great thing about Scottie's game is when he tends to get hot, he gets everyone involved, so they could play well too. By the end of the third quarter, the Bulls were up by 19 points. At one point in the game, Chicago was leading by 22 points. So you'd think the Bulls would actually have this game in the bag, locked and sealed. Up until the Knicks flipped the switch and got hot to a major comeback, falling just 2 points with 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. After a missed shot by Scottie, the Knicks had to come locked and loaded as they had no timeouts left. And Patrick Ewing, one of the biggest victims who suffered from the hands of the Chicago Bulls for 3 years, was waiting for this very moment to come clutch with 2 seconds left. After his defeat with the Chicago Bulls year in and year out, getting beat on heartaches, he knew that this was against all odds, all or nothing, and he finally got his revenge.
Away with a push that time. That's how he received that rebound. Ewing's hit a 3 in Game 2. He's going to take it inside. Count it. It's a 2-point ball game.
Plus, the Knicks are going to get this ball back with time. 1-4 right now, looking for the spot up off the dribble. The clock is at 6.
Pippen with 3 on the shot clock. He's not going to get a good shot off. 2-1. No, they're going to call a violation. That is a shot clock violation. The Knicks, with 1 timeout left, have a chance to tie the basketball game and win it with a 3.
Now remember, the Knicks have no timeouts remaining. None. So this is critical. You know that they want to try to get Ewing in this play. And start.
There's Ewing. Ewing for the tie. He's got it with 1.8 left. A sensational play. And they call a timeout right as they brought the ball in.
Can you believe what just happened?
I cannot
Miners
believe.
Inbound that ball.
Crazy shot. With the game tied at 102, the Bulls had 3 timeouts left. And it looked like Scottie was eager to show that he has a killer instinct, a killer mentality. When MJ was on the Bulls, there was no question that he would take the final shot in crunch time. And in this situation, it could have gone 2 ways. You either make the winning shot or leads to overtime. And Pippen was more than willing to take the challenge. But instead of calling a timeout, Pippen called for the ball with 2 defenders in front of him. And if it wasn't for Horace Grant calling a timeout, Pippen would have either threw up a Hail Mary or desperately tried to drive in the lane with 1.8 seconds left. 2 of his teammates were right behind him, while all of his opponents on the court are diving right at him. And being a leader of the team, that was not the best decision. But there are tons of superstars that makes a lapse of decision in game situations like these. But for Scottie, he wanted to prove that he was willing to step up when times got rough. And he was the man of Chicago, that this was his team. With no MJ and the game on the line, he wanted to prove that he was a killer. Where superstars are made. Except, it didn't happen. Scottie didn't take the last shot. In fact, he wasn't even on the court during the last possession. During the huddle, Phil Jackson made it clear that he wanted Tony Kukoc to take the last shot. And Pippen wasn't having any of that. He was livid. Leading the team up to this point all season, he felt that he deserved to take the last shot. When Michael Jordan was on the Bulls, there was no question who was going to take the shot. But with Pippen being in the same position and not getting the same treatment angered Pippen to a T, with the whole basketball world watching. In front of his teammates who look up to him for guidance, Scottie cursed out Phil Jackson and questioned his judgment and refused to get off the bench unless he was taking the last shot. And Phil Jackson was also having none of it. So here we are, no MJ, a pissed off Phil Jackson, game on the line, a prime Scottie Pippen on the bench in the most crucial moment, and Tony Kukoc takes the last shot in the playoffs. This was supposed to be Scottie's moment, But instead of stepping up and being the leader that his teammates needed, he let his ego get in the way of his success. And with all Scottie's accolades and accomplishments, his status as a leader took a big hit and was severely damaged that day. It was so bad that after the win, Phil Jackson didn't even go to the locker room. He let the players hash it out themselves, and they were extremely disappointed. Bill Cartwright, just one season away from retirement, was so disappointed in Scottie Pippen that he was brought to tears, calling him selfish and saying that he gave up on his team. And at the time, this was a huge deal, and even considered to be one of the most strangest moments that happened that season. And it shows that even some of the most decorated stars in NBA history had their shortcomings at some point in time.